And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September 14th, 2020 meeting of the Albany County Legislature. My name is Andrew Joyce, and I serve as chair of the Albany County Legislature. Whether you're watching this meeting via our YouTube stream or listening to it via telephone, you can tell we have not been able to return to our normal chambers. As previously done, we must move forward with the people's business remotely. Our rules allow for a period of public comment before our meetings. In accordance with the guidance provided by the governor, our own county executive, and the commissioner of health, we are managing the public forum virtually. Registration was open last week, and we have many speakers for tonight. I believe at last tally, the number was 14. Our rules direct that we commence the meeting at 7:30, so please keep your statements brief and allow for as many speakers to speak as possible. And speakers are going to be allowed 2 minutes each tonight. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
That's all. $15.
Bear with us a moment.
Yeah, I couldn't get down there. It's coming. Gotta give him a tip on it.
Bear with us a moment, folks. We are retrieving the deputy clerk. He is moving back to his station expeditiously.
All right. It was about $65, wasn't it? No. Oh, that's right. I'll take care of it. Are you there?
In a lot of places. All right. Birthday tomorrow, Gil, huh?
Yeah, I'll make it. Yep.
Mr. Devane's technical issue is almost resolved. Just bear with us another moment, folks. Thank you for your patience.
Mr.
Andrew,
Chairman,
maybe
this is
to make
Frank.
Paul come
Just
sit
want to
with
let you
you.
know I'm here, but for some reason my video will not work.
I hear you, Frank. We had issues opening up all the video before, but we got it fixed and I can see everyone else.
All right, what I'll do is I'll log off and I'll log right back on again.
Why don't you try just restarting your device and we'll see if that works.
Okay.
On a pogo stick, on a pogo stick, 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 pogo stick,
Is that Paul's music?
Mr. Devane came in here on a pogo. 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 Came in here on a pogo Mr. Clerk, Mr. Deputy Clerk, are you with us?
Pogo stick.
Folks, I can't wait to get back into chambers when it's safe again. Trust me. Mr. Deputy Clerk, can you hear me?
I see him. I see him. I see him. 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 That's my computer.
This technical, what's going on? We have technical difficulties. It's like going crazy, and we're not, I don't know. Wow. Am I the only one? Oh, God. Okay. Okay.
Calling Matt Peter.
Again.
Ready to go? Mr. Deputy Clerk, is that you? Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. Please call the roll.
Beston. Beston. Rushi.
Here.
Bergdorf.
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Blake.
Here.
Cleary.
Here.
Misso. Frank. Frank. Cunningham. Ms. Cunningham. Demolowitz.
Here.
Drake.
Here.
Efficaro.
Here.
Heath here. Heath here. Feeny.
Here.
Fine.
Here.
Grimm.
Here.
Andrew Joyce.
Here.
Joyce.
Here.
Drake. Hume.
Here.
Langen.
Here.
Lekakis.
Here.
Lockhart.
Here.
Patricia.
Here.
Thank you. Moriello.
Here.
Mayo. Mayo. McLaughlin.
Here.
McLean Lane.
Here, thank you.
Miller.
Present.
O'Brien.
Here.
Oak Pearlie.
Here.
Peter.
Here.
Lotsky.
Here.
Reedy.
Yeah.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Reichert.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Honey.
Here.
Ward.
Here, and I also, Mr. Beston is trying to get on if somebody could help him out.
All righty. Miss Whalen.
I'm here.
Willingham.
Here.
Thank you. Frank Camiso. Miss Cunningham.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, got
You
you.
gotcha.
*6 is the command on.
Mayo. Mayo.
We can't do it.
Mr. Mayo is excused.
Is Mr. Mayo here?
Mr. Mayo is excused, Mr. Deputy Clerk.
Excused. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you're on the phone, *6 is what you do to unmute yourself if we didn't hear you.
Bobby Peston.
Bob is actually having some technical difficulties. He's on, but not heard.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Deputy Clerk, please identify the first speaker.
I think Frank just came on.
Carol Waterman. Carol Waterman.
Give Carol a moment.
Are we okay now?
We hear you, Carol. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay. I hope all of you realize that when we're on mute, we can still see you and hear you. And so I want to say that at the last meeting, I was appalled by the behavior of some of you. I'm not going to be naming anyone. When members of the community were speaking, some of you were talking to each other so loudly that I could hear all the words. Some not so loud, but still talking while people were speaking. All of this, by the way, was bipartisan. One Democrat was leaning way over to laugh with someone. And this is while I was speaking, and of course I didn't appreciate it. I have never seen behavior like this when any of you are speaking. And we deserve the same respect you show each other, and we show you. I know the majority of you could see that, we're as professional as you always have been. And you all know that I attend all the meetings, so I am fully aware of all the good, all the wonderful things that you do. Unfortunately, the bad behaviors reflect on and demean the legislature. I am respectfully requesting, Andrew, that you as chair put a stop to what I've been describing. And now about local law H.
30 seconds, Carol.
Okay. Then I'll really shorten it. The last time we spoke about the effect, a lot of us did, about the effect of sparklers on veterans, on suffering from PTSD, pets, and outdoor animals. And I spoke about how local law H would make Albany County greener. Equally important, it will make our county more compassionate to all living beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Matthew Sisman. Matthew Sisman.
Give Mr. Sisman a moment.
He just needs to unmute.
*6 is the command.
Mr. Sisman, if you can hear me, *6 is the command to unmute if you're on your phone. Mr. Sisman?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, my name is Matthew D. Sisman. I'm a proud longtime resident of Albany County, who resides in Latham. I'm a graduate of Shaker High School. I'm submitting this statement for public comment, but regret that we're not able to deliver it in person. And I'm taking this opportunity to follow up for public comments at this meeting to comments I made prior to the last meeting on the statue of General Schuyler. Since those comments were delivered, it's come to my attention that the statue sits on property which is part of the city of Albany, and it appears thus that the county legislature may not have any authority to formally instruct what is to become of the statue. That is not to suggest that the legislature has no role to play in this matter, however. I feel that it is most certainly within the power of the county legislature to weigh in with a sense of the legislature resolution on behalf of the people of the county, and I also feel that the legislature could have placed on the ballot countywide a non-binding referendum question on the matter to allow the people who choose to record a preference publicly. This vote may result in an even split or may reveal a mandate to either remove or let alone the statue. No matter the result, I feel that it is thoroughly appropriate that the people of the county speak on this matter to, at the very least, provide guidance to the elected officials who are in the position to make the decision and follow through. As before, I'm available to provide any assistance necessary in furtherance of this objective. I once again thank you all for your time and attention and consideration of my proposal. Respectfully submitted, Matthew D. Sisman.
Thank you, Mr. Sisman. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Paul Miller.
Hello?
Paul, we hear you.
Miller.
Okay. Hi, I'm Paul Miller. I reside at 115 Avon Street in town of Gilliland. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight in support of Local Law H, repealing Local Law 1 of 2016. There are numerous reasons I support the local law. As a firefighter and a first responder, I'm concerned about the fires and injuries caused by fireworks. According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, in 2019, there were 12 non-occupational deaths caused by fireworks and 10,000 injuries. At one of the committee meetings I was listening in, I heard some comments about youth being able to use sparklers, and I wanted to add my comments on that with regard to just sparklers. From June 21st to July 21st of 2019, there were 900 injuries from sparklers. 500 of these were children under 4, and 200 were from 5 to 14. They also did a telephone investigation on some of the cases, and they found that one was a 3-year-old who was given a sparkler their mother lit for her, and she received burns to his face. In 2018, and last year, I could find statistics from National Fire Protection Association. Over $105 million in direct property losses were attributed to fireworks. In addition, I have 2 rescue dogs that are terrified by the sound of fireworks. It takes them quite a while to stop shaking and panting after fireworks stop. It also has an adverse effect on babies and many of our returning veterans. I realize that this law will not stop all fireworks, but if we're able to reduce their use, it'll be a good outcome. Lastly, I'd like to second Carol's comments about the pre-meeting conversations. I noted tonight that some of the people said when we go on live that they wanted to make comments before they went on live. Well, you guys are on live for the last half hour, and I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Heather Spitzberg.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Heather.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you. I am here to speak in favor of local law H. I want to point out, as I have in the past, that, there's a great deal of confusion about what is a legal and illegal firework, and local law H will eliminate that. Also, the sparkling devices aren't just the little handheld sparklers that we all think of. There are these they're called fountain sparklers. My neighbor lit one off on the 4th of July behind their house, which is a typical size Cape Cod. And I saw the sparks coming out over and on the sides of their home. And then our entire cul-de-sac filled with smoke from a quote unquote sparkler device. These are not little handheld sparklers that are harmless to people. Additionally, it makes it very difficult for law enforcement to get to the illegal fireworks because of packaging laws. Finally, I know some lobbyists and sellers have started to speak up on the matter, and that's just outrageous that people would defer to their claims that they need, the sales tax, and or people are just going to go to other counties. We are coordinating an effort to try to get fireworks banned throughout the state, and also working with other states to try to get them not brought into New York State anymore. If they want to sell fireworks, great. Let them come live in our communities that are like war zones on the 4th of July and the entire summer. Or let them pay the fees to clean up the mess, because there are hazardous waste fees applied to cleaning up spent firework and explosive material.
30 seconds, Heather.
Thank you. And it's just, this is our community. We pay property taxes here. We deserve to have a space where we can live with well-being. And please, please pass local law H. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
John Clarkson.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, John.
Okay, well, I'm John Clarkson. I live at 61 South Lake Avenue in Albany, and I'm the president of the Pine Hills neighborhood. Fireworks have been a huge issue in our neighborhood. This goes for a long time, but they've gotten much, much worse since 2016 when the sparkling devices were allowed. We are asking you to pass local law H tonight. Our board voted unanimously to do so. And as you probably know, you've heard from a lot of people in Pine Hills and are likely to hear from more tonight. It's a big issue. It's a huge quality of life issue for us, just as it is for other communities, but we have a lot more fireworks than anyone. And some of the reasons why I can hear, I can sort of imagine why you might think you don't need to do that. Well, maybe it was only this pandemic year that it really got out of hand. And that's true, but it was always a problem. It got worse, but it has been getting steadily worse over the years. Anytime you make legal and okay some portion of behavior, it runs downhill and snowball and become a much, much bigger problem, which indeed is what has happened. So we hope that you'll ban it. It's disturbing to the peace. It's damaging potentially to health and safety. But most of all, it's really not beneficial to any of our neighborhoods. And if you might think, well, we could lose a little bit of sales tax and people might go get these fireworks elsewhere. Yes, both of those are true. But getting fireworks elsewhere makes them far less frequent. When you sell them here, when you say they're okay to use here, people will use them here.
30 seconds, John.
And I think if you balance the potential of maybe a little sales tax versus the health and convenience and peace of mind in neighborhoods across the county, it's really no contest. Please do the right thing and pass local law. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Michael Henderson.
Mr. Henderson?
On a phone, star 6.
Mr. Henderson, please unmute your phone. If you're on a telephone, use star 6.
Hi, I'm here. I'm just a listener tonight.
You're not speaking?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker, please.
Nancy Goody.
Hi,
Hi, Nancy. We hear you.
thanks. Thanks for having me speak tonight. As John Clarkson noted, the Pine Hills Neighborhood Association, the Hudson Park Neighborhood Association, and the Center Square Association, all located in the city of Albany, where I live, are all in support of local law H. And we thank those legislators who are supporting this effort. You've heard from me and you've heard from many others, and I know you've received letters and other comments from residents emphasizing that our voting residents want the indiscriminate setting off of fireworks to stop. I won't go into all the details of why, but I will, because time is very limited tonight. But I will say that the tax revenue that is generated from these sales is really minor. They go on for a few months and that's that. And a lot of these things are actually bought out of the county now. And we know that they're out of the state. So you're not getting any tax revenue from that. Makes it very hard, as you know, for police to enforce the laws. So local law H is really important for the police departments as well. But the costs of cleanup affect everyone in Albany County. And it affects negatively the quality of life in Albany County. But my main concern tonight is especially that the representative that you will hear from last is not someone who lives in our community. You will hear from a man who represents the fireworks industry. And we noted last time, the last speaker was the fireworks industry representative. There is no opportunity for rebuttal from residents since he's the last speaker. He does not care about our community. He is only making money. And he does not live here, nor do any of the manufacturers of these fireworks live here. Please pass local law H tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Gregory Bell.
Hi, I'm Craig Bell. I would like to urge the legislature to clarify this situation with fireworks by passing this law. And I would like to comment on the comments of the industry lobbyist who spoke in the previous hearing that you had. He made a little sales pitch about how his industry has done a survey of, I believe it was all of 100 residents of Albany or Albany County, I'm not sure. And the 70% supported a statement that they asked of these people. And the statement was whether or not people are in favor of safe and sane fireworks in our county. Now, I urge all members of the county legislature to totally disregard anything this gentleman has said about this survey about safe and sane. It is misworded. It is intentionally designed to mislead because it is not at all clear and does not state what it should state. Obviously, this association that he represents does not understand how to properly. The way it was worded applies to the 50,000 people who go to the public fireworks display on the 4th of July at the Empire State Plaza. Those
30
fireworks,
seconds, Mr. Bell.
those fireworks are safe because they're run by professionals. But they're implying that that means safe and sane also applies to people doing it in the backyard, which it does not. So therefore, their survey has no validity and should be disregarded. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. We're going to take a moment to mute that static, which I think we just did. Maybe not. Okay, I think we got it. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Dannielle Hille.
I was wondering, with all respect, if I could possibly go last if there's a lobbyist on here, because I would like I think the community should have the last word over the fireworks company. Is that possible?
No one's ever asked that before, Danielle, but since you asked, we're going to go ahead and grant you that privilege, if that's what you'd like to do.
Appreciate it.
We'll move on to the next speaker.
Kevin Lentko.
Hi, my name is Kevin Lankto. I own Saratoga Tents and Events. We actually work with some of the firework distributors in setting up their tents and their tables and the lights and stuff like that. I heard everyone speak. I respect everyone's opinion and what all the facts that were stated. I'd like you to hear my side. As a small business owner, I put in over 100 hours a week. I have a wife, 2 children, and especially this year with the coronavirus, my business would have gone under without the firework community. I know that you have a lot of concerns about cleanup and noise and safety. I know in New York State, ground fireworks and sparklers are the only legal fireworks. And for years and years, no matter what you guys say, people have been going to other states to obtain rockets, ground fireworks, explosive devices, and they'll continue to do that. The numbers might go down a little bit, but now that, people are home more, I'm not quite sure that would happen. That's just my personal opinion. I don't have any facts on that, but I can say without the firework community this year, my family would have suffered, and I don't know what we would have done. I might have foreclosed on my house, lost my business. I'm not quite sure what happened. So I'm in favor of keeping them. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Owen.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello, my name is Tom. I'm a contractor in Albany County. I live just outside in the town of Nassau. I'm a small business owner and I make a living selling TNT fireworks to the community. And I've seen how it brings families and communities together over the years. I've been selling since the beginning, since you guys legalized them. Especially during these trying times, it gave people a real reason to come out and enjoy the weather and get together. People are really passionate about this celebration. It represents the day of our freedom and the birth of our nation. And I feel that on top of the county and the state losing tax revenue and community spirit, you'll be inadvertently inviting our families to illegally purchase these basic ground fountains and fireworks from surrounding county and state vendors that potentially offer fireworks of a higher impact. I mean, I understand that, all the complaints about the noise, the enforcement, and environment impact that it has on the community. But I think that, to better reach a compromise that maybe benefits both sides of the argument, we could do things like maybe exclude noisemakers, simple but better education of enforcement and cleanup, for our community, and perhaps some kind of county or state specific label for further ease of identification and verification, just to better serve our, this great community and the special occasion that's once a year that only lasts for a few days, maybe a week. I also, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to speak to you guys. I understand all the complaints and everything that's going on, but it really does bring families together. I mean, there's a lot of joy and energy that comes from this. And I think it's something important. It represents our freedom, it represents our independence. But other than that, it's been an honor serving our great Albany community. I really look forward to the decision. However it is, I'll respect, whatever decision it is. I hope we can just maybe open our hearts and come to an agreement rather than a complete ban. Thank you for everything, really. Thank you for having me. And, I wish everybody the very best. God bless you guys.
Thank you. So Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
James Fuller.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Fuller.
Thank you for providing me this opportunity. I'm James Fuller. I represent TNT Fireworks and the fireworks industry that would love to continue serving the county of Albany. I too would like to add my voice of respect and understanding to those that have spoken opposition to this, in support of the ban, but I'm here and respectfully asking the legislators to consider not enforcing a ban. We believe that education is the right mode. We believe safe and sane fireworks can be used responsibly, as does a majority of your constituents, which we showed through a poll of 200 respondents, not 100. That poll was shared with the sponsor of the legislation. I believe he would even join me in saying it was a very fair question poll and was not leading in nature. Now, we respect the opinion of others and understand that there is a vote to be taken this evening. We will work to enforce whatever decision the county makes because we believe the county should make the right decision representing their constituents. We also think that safe fireworks can be used responsibly in Albany. We would hope that you vote against the ban and that you support the small business owners that have spoke here today whose livelihoods and families would be impacted by the loss of revenue that this ban would create. And we do believe it's important to note that most respondents that we asked said they would still be inclined to go and buy fireworks and take those fireworks back to Albany and light those fireworks in their backyards. No one wants to create an unenforceable law. No one wants to make their next door neighbor a criminal inadvertently. And we think it would be best to sit down with the fireworks industry and try to work towards a compromise. I know the fireworks industry would most appreciate that opportunity. Thank you for allowing us to share our views. And thank you for your service to your county.
Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Patricia Sibilia.
Good evening. It's Patricia Sibilia with the League of Women Voters of Albany County. I have two comments tonight. The first one is on Resolution 243, which is to modify the rules and regulations for Albany County employees. I was surprised this went out with a negative recommendation from both personnel and the Audit and Finance Committee. It's clear and it makes absolute sense as a response to the done by the comptroller, and I don't understand the reason why there would be any issue with it. The second comment I have is on voting. So the league participated this last weekend with the New Jerusalem Church event that was heavily attended, and we recognize the need for so much more information getting out to the public regarding the voting situation, particularly early voting. We ask that you, similar to as you did with the census, that you help get the word out via social media. It helps to amplify the message when the league and or anyone else put something out there, and then people retweet it, repost it, and it will be very important. We are planning a public program on the vote and the specifics around it for Thursday, October 15th. I'm happy to say that at the last minute today, we finally got the Board of Elections to participate with us in this. And that is a major breakthrough for us. It will be multi-part segment and hopefully something that can be broadly shared to help educate the public. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Patricia. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
Julie Jensen. Julie Jensen.
We don't have Julie. I believe, Mr. Deputy Clerk, last speaker.
Dannielle Hille.
Hi, I'm Dannielle Hille. I reside at 46 Myrtle Ave. So sparklers are not actually the problem. Those sticks just burn hundreds of kids every year. Well, actually, they are part of the problem, but they're not the reason why I'm speaking here today. I'm speaking here today because of the sparkling and fountain devices, which have not only caused an increase in problems, but they've also led to an increase in the use of illegal fireworks. So having them, allowing sparklers has actually already created and already caused people to go out and purchase illegal fireworks and use illegal fireworks. And it's created a problem for law enforcement. So a vote against banning fireworks is not just a vote against the community, and 200 people is not a fair subset, especially because there's no breakdown of what communities were surveyed. I doubt those were in the communities that are hit the hardest. It's definitely not a week of celebration. It's 3 months of celebration. And even without them, professionals could still set off fireworks during holidays. But voting against banning these fireworks is also a vote against local law enforcement and our firefighters. I wonder if the fireworks manufacturers will come to your aid if you call. Let's talk sales tax revenue. How much of that is left after we pay for cleanup and for our parks and the debris? How much would be left if a government worker was to be injured by an unexploded device used by an amateur? What's the cost to the health of our children or our elderly? And can we actually put a price on someone's child or their mother? Since we're talking costs, how much has the firework company chipped in to cover the cleanup or to educate the public here in Albany? I don't want to hear what they did across the country. I want to know what they've done here in Albany. How much have they given back to the communities that their product terrorizes? They said they would like to help. What have they done since the last meeting to show their commitment?
That's time, Dannielle.
Well, I would just like to ask that you guys vote in favor of local law H and reban fireworks so to stop this torture in our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dannielle. Is there anyone else in our meeting tonight that wants to speak on something on our agenda? Hearing none, the public forum is now closed. And before we move on to our full meeting, I want to call on legislators Nikki Cleary, Dustin Reedy, and Majority Leader Dennis Feeney to speak about our September recipient of the Legislature's Beyond the Call COVID-19 Award, which is Megan Beck, Ellen Tossig, Dawn Weir, Amanda Gutler, and Christine Grote from the Guilderland School District.
Go ahead, Dennis or Dustin.
Sure, thanks, Mickey, and thank you, Chair. Excited and want to express my deepest gratitude to Megan, Amanda, Christine, Dawn, and Ellen, all the volunteers who put such hard work into the Guilderland School District meal program. It's a testament to this incredible group of individuals that at the start of this pandemic, where they had to figure out work, taking care of their families, taking care of themselves, making sure they were safe, that, they first made sure that our most vulnerable were taken care of. This meal program delivered, I think, just under 180,000 breakfasts and lunches to school, to K through 12 students across Guilderland. Over 5,000 meals a day were put together. I was lucky and incredibly grateful to have had a small part in this effort, where I was able to see every Monday and Thursday a diligent, incredibly efficient and caring operation put together those meals, hand them off to delivery volunteers, and I was one of those delivery volunteers, and I was able to see just how much our public school system goes beyond education, but serves as an integral part of the entire safety net to our communities. These volunteers went far above and beyond through the COVID-19 crisis, and the impact they've had on our students and families here in Guilderland is immense. And I just want to thank them for all of us here in Guilderland and here in the county and the legislature for everything that they've done. Mickey?
I would like to, again, thank all the volunteers that did it. I was lucky enough when I was out of work, because my work closed down the court system where I work for the administrative judge, Judge Breslin, and I got to volunteer. And there was many people that came in, and they had to figure it out. I mean, this was something totally new. So like the first couple weeks, it was like 10-hour days. And at the end of the 12 weeks, they got it down to where it was like, maybe we were done by like 2 o'clock and then 1 o'clock. And someone like Dustin would come in and he would do the driving and stuff. But they put in so many hours and figured it out, because this is something totally new. Like everything is totally new now. But got it out. When you were doing 5,000 meals a day, twice a week, it was unbelievable. And I was lucky enough to help. But the volunteers were unbelievable. So it's a great thing, and we're lucky to have them.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy and Mr. Cleary. Megan Beck, are you on?
I am.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. On behalf of myself, Dawn, Ellen, Christine, and Amanda, and the Guilderland School District, we'd like to thank the volunteers in the community for their support during our emergency feeding program. Without their tireless support and energy, none of this would have been possible. For over 25 weeks, they continually showed up and lent a helping hand. They stuck with us through all the trials and tribulations of feeding hungry students in a pandemic. The students and food service department at Guilderland Schools will be forever thankful for all of our community support and help. We are so thankful to be part of such a supportive community.
And thank you for all you've done, Megan, and all your volunteers as well.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay, now we'll call our meeting to order, and I'd like to ask Carolyn McLaughlin to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and to the republic.
It stands one nation
under God,
civil liberty and
justice for all.
For all.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin.
Thank you.
And for those of you at home, I'd ask that you remain standing. For the month of September, we always remember and honor the victims of the September 11th terrorist attacks. We remember the victims, and we remark at the bravery of all the first responders that did respond on that terrible day in our nation's history. So I'd ask that you join me for a moment of silence, remembering those victims of September 11th, those attacks. I'd also ask that you join me in a moment of silence for Alma Feeney, who is the mother of our Majority Leader, Dennis Feeney. And also, I hope that you'll join me in a moment of silence and reflection on the life of 11-year-old Ashawn Davis, who was killed yesterday in Troy. It's not an Albany County issue, but it is a capital region issue. I'm sure many of you remember Katina Thomas in Albany, and it's been an awful summer here in Albany. And it's even worse when we lose a young person. So if you're somebody that prays like I do, I hope you join me in a moment of silence and prayer and reflection on the loss of that young man's life, the victims of September 11th attacks, and Miss Alma Feeney. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to remind our members that are on the phone, if you're on the telephone, could you please unmute yourself by using *6 before we call the roll. Mr. Deputy Clerk, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Beston.
Here.
Bruschi.
Here.
Bergdorf.
Here.
Chapman. Norton. Clay.
Here.
Leary.
Here.
Abisso.
Here.
Cunningham,
Here.
Malowitz,
Here.
Drake,
Here.
Epicoro,
Here.
Ethier, Gill,
He's got himself muted.
Mr. Ethier, unmute yourself. We have Mr. Ethier, we just have him on mute.
Beatty,
Here.
Hine,
Here.
Grimm,
Here.
Andrew Joyce,
Here.
Joyce,
Here.
Fitzgibbon, Langen,
Here.
Dukakis,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
Moriello,
Here.
Mr. Mayo is excused. McLaughlin,
Here.
McLean Lane,
Here.
O'Brien,
Here.
Hurley,
Here.
Peter,
Here.
Plotsky,
Present.
Reedy, Mr. Reedy,
Here. I'm here.
Reinhardt,
Here.
Rickard,
Bill Rickard is here.
Simpson,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Honey,
Here.
Ford,
Here.
Whalen,
Here.
Willingham,
Here.
Miss Chapman, Norma.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Ethier, Gilbert,
Still got himself muted. I'll call
Mr. Ethier, we still have you on mute. If you're on a telephone, please use *6 to unmute yourself.
him. There he is.
Mr. Ethier,
Here.
we've got you.
thank you.
Hey.
Now we can get, now it's a party.
38. 38, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Before we get to previous business, I'd like a motion. Mr. Ward?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to, if you don't mind, I'm sorry for not mentioning this ahead of time, but the senior member of the Albany County Legislature just had 2 milestones in his life. The 60th anniversary of he and his wife, Barbara, as well as his 80th birthday. And I just wanted to mention that tonight while we're all here today.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you for your service, Mr. Ethier.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sean.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Gil.
Congratulations, Gil.
Congratulations.
To everybody.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
Now, if we can get you, just get you on video.
Not gonna
Mark, he has a face for radio, Mark. You said that to me when you interviewed me before.
One step at a time.
Okay, folks, before we go into previous business, I'd like to take a motion, as Mr. Apostle is with us tonight, to take 329 out of order, which is confirming the appointment of the Director of Employee Relations in the
So
Department
moved.
of
Second, Mr.
We have a
Chairman.
motion from Ms. Lakakis, seconded by Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Deputy Clerk, please read 329.
Confirming the appointment of the Director of Employee Relations in the Department of Human Services.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, Mr. Apostle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody.
Sean just said my birthday and Bobby had
Okay. Mr. Clay, did you have something?
Well, yes, I just wanted to go on as one of the sponsors for the appointment. His family lives out here in my district, and so did he before he went away to bigger things. So certainly, I'd like to add my name in support of it.
Certainly. We will add your name. Mr. Peter.
I would also like to be added, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ward.
I would also like to be added. His family was a Green Island family before they were in your district, Mr. Clay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have it. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Good luck, Peter.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck, Mr. Apostle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
right, Mr. Deputy Clerk, please read 243.
An act to modify the rules and regulations for Albany County employees.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak on this, please?
Mr. Moriello.
I just want to bring up my colleagues up to speed on this for those that weren't able to attend the committee meetings. As everyone remembers or recalls, last year, our outgoing controller conducted an audit, and he had concerns about the abuse of our time and attendance policies, as well as doing campaign work on county time. Well, upon his departure from office, he was not able to complete the audit. So our incoming controller did complete the audit, which he released in April. And so her audit really focused on time and attendance. That's where her main focus of all this was. So after about 3 months, I got together with a couple of members of our conference, and we decided to draft a resolution that would adapt the recommendations that were in the controller's audit. And prior to the resolution exchange, we sent the resolution to the chairman, the majority leader, the county controller, county executive, HR director. We were just looking for a bipartisan resolution and looking for everyone's support. And well, we didn't get the support that we thought we would get from this. In fact, the following resolution on tonight's agenda, 276, was a result of this resolution. So what we did was, with our resolution, we decided to co-sponsor 276. We pared down our resolution and took out all the time and attendance language and just made it a single issue resolution. And that is that employees cannot work on political campaigns during county time. So what I'm asking my colleagues here, we're getting into the election season. Election day is about 50 days away. I think it's important that we send a message to everyone and to our constituents so they understand that we're serious about this and we do not want our employees working on campaigns during county time. So again, I'm happy to sponsor 276. It drags the process out a little bit longer, but that's fine. But we need to really send that message to our employees and to our constituents that we're serious about this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Moriello.
Andrew?
Mr. Grimm.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I think the minority leader made an attempt to collaborate as best he could with all the members.
You want to bring this over?
Mr. Drake.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. There was some interruption there. I just feel like this is an easy one for us. Yes, we should further study the other issues involving the timesheet circumstances that were raised recently. But I think it's important we send a strong signal that doing any campaign work on county time is absolutely unacceptable. And we're able to do that tonight if we all vote together and approve this resolution. And I hope we do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bergdorf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for recognizing me. As you know, I am going to be a co-sponsor of your bill, which will follow this, which says it is going to follow up on the controller's recommendations and audit findings. However, and you said you were going to do that within 45 days. I haven't seen any amendments that say it's going to happen within 45 days. And I haven't seen, while you told me that, or told the committees that it was going to relate also and include political activity, haven't seen anything that reflects that in your legislation. But when you go to Mr. Moriello's recommended text, you will see that there is a list of things that actually allow the county to take disciplinary action. And they include being under the influence of drugs, controlled substances, profane or abusive language, refusal to directly obey a supervisor, unauthorized use of equipment, falsification of employment applications, sleeping on duty, unauthorized absence, possession of firearms, and all Frank's resolution does is adds the words performing political work for political parties, political appointees, or elected officials for work on the county payroll. So it is so simple to add those words so that for the next 45 or 50 days, it is absolutely unambiguous that there is no political activity on county time. I've also heard and read in the newspaper that people have said it's not up to us to make policy. It is up to us to make policy. And the policy should be that there is no political work on county time. We don't need Sue Rizzo to tell us whether that's right or wrong. We don't need Jennifer Clement to tell us whether that's right or wrong. We as 39 legislators have the responsibility tonight to say working on political campaigns during county time is wrong. I'd very much like to thank the League of Women Voters for them pointing out that it was ludicrous that this went out with a negative recommendation. If it needs some sort of amendment or massage, or there are certain things or certain nuances that we haven't taken into account, that can be done under the chairman's resolution, which supposedly is going to be done within 45 days, but it doesn't say that anywhere. And it also doesn't say that it's going to take a look at political action of county employees. So we, all of us, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, have the ability tonight to say between tomorrow and November 4th, or whenever our other study comes forward, there should not be any political action on county time. And a vote in the negative on this subject seems to tell me that people don't want that to happen. So I'm going to be voting to support this. And I hope that everybody can just say, this is the right thing to do, even if there are nuances which need to be corrected by a technical analysis, not a policy analysis. We do policy. The controller doesn't do policy. Clement doesn't do policy. The county executive doesn't do policy. We do policy. And if we don't,
that's time. Please wrap it up.
We're abdicating our responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Drake?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Plain and simple, this is easy. Send a message to our constituents. We don't tolerate any abuse of county time, regardless of what party it might support or what elected or unelected official. It's an easy vote. Let's do something here that sends the right message, and I fully support also 276. Thanks for your time.
Mr. Chairman?
Is that Mr. Drake? Or no, Mr. Ethier?
Yes, I'd just like to say one thing. It's common knowledge and common sense that our employees can't campaign on county time, nor do I ever recall anybody being accused of it or charged of that. Has anybody ever been accused or charged of doing that on county time?
Yes.
Who was that?
Mr. Chairman.
Did somebody say yes?
I think they did.
I
Who
did.
was it that was accused of and charged with it?
Mike Connors has a whole series of emails of people who are doing county politics on county time.
Which
who
were
were
never.
them people in emails?
Alleged.
Who were them people on county time, and what happened to them when Mike had this information?
Chairman.
Listen,
Okay.
point of
Those are
order.
alleged comments, so.
Hold on,
alleged.
folks, one at a time.
Point of order.
Just let Mr. Ethier has the floor. And he
Yes,
asked-
I'd just like to know if Mike Connors had this information, who were the employees he was talking about, and what was the result if he passed it on to somebody? Was anybody disciplined for this?
The answer is no.
Nobody was disciplined.
No.
So nobody's ever been charged with campaigning on county time.
There's a lot of rumor and innuendo, but other than that, no.
So
There
I
is
think
a
I think
federal
they can-
court case now, as a matter of fact.
I believe our constituents are well aware that the employees can't campaign on county time, and our employees are well aware of that. And it's never occurred in the past, and to think it's going to happen in the next 45 days, it's nice to be on the safeguard of it, but I don't believe it'll happen no more than it ever happened in the past. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ethier. Mr. Peter?
Mr. Chairman.
I just want to, so a couple of quick things. One, it is illegal to do any outside work on county time based on current county law. And I'll confirm that with obviously our council. You can't do any outside work. You can't do outside legal work. You can't drive a cab while you're clocked into work. It's time roll. It's a time card abuse. You can't do it. It's fraud. So whatever this is, it's not sending a message. It's superficial because everything, any outside work, political or otherwise, is illegal based on current rules and law. You can't do a second job while you're being paid by the county. That's just how rules work. And our objection, and why I voted in the negative coming out of committee was, one, we got it 10 minutes before committee. And we were specifying what was legal and illegal work, assuming that there was somehow outside work that is legal, except there's not. All outside work is illegal. Secondly, what we're trying to do with 276, and I understand the message that wants to be sent, that no outside work, specifically political, although all outside work is illegal. What 276 says is that we need a better system to track to make sure no one commits that type of fraud in the county, whether or not it's political and otherwise. And I don't want to predictate how to catch anyone doing anything illegal. I want that policy, which is current policy, to be enforced effectively, which means we need the insight and help of both the comptroller and the HR person. I fully expect that the policy of all government, which is that you can't commit fraud against it, should be enforced effectively. And that's what 276 aims for. Because once again, working on county time, a second job, is fraud against the taxpayer and is currently against policy. Thank you.
Mr. Cleary?
Yeah, I agree with Gil and Matt and what they said, and Paul and Mark. I think that you guys are just putting this up there to do it. We all know that you cannot work on political stuff. You cannot work another job on that. And I think we all know that. And there's nothing to change. It was months ago, the same rules were in place. So I don't think we need to go out there and say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I respect Mark and I respect Paul that we're not doing that, but we're not doing it now. We weren't doing it before. And if somebody's doing it, then they should be reprimanded for it. So I personally, I think it's been a standard forever. It's not something that has to happen now. And thank you very much.
Okay, long roll call on 243, please.
Chairman, just one quick thing.
Oh, stand by. Who's that?
Chairman, just one quick response, 30 seconds.
Mr. Moriel, go ahead.
All right, first of all, it's not in our county policy anywhere, so this actually puts this into our county policy, so I think that's important. Second of all, this isn't working on a second job. This is working on a campaign during county time. So I'm not saying that this employee is being paid to work another job. They're just working on campaigns during county time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moriello.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mr. Bergdorf, you spoke for a good 5 minutes. You have 2 minutes.
No, I was just going to say, and thank you for the editorial comment for whoever spoke out before, invoking the Lord's name. But you know, there are things that people do.
Amen.
In political activity that are not a paid county job. People organize walking campaigns. People sell tickets. People go to their subordinates and ask them for help. There are all sorts of things that don't require a second job, but they're wrong. They're wrong. And if we can tell people that profane or abusive language is something that you can be disciplined for, or falsification of an employment application is something that you can be disciplined for, we could certainly tell them that political activity on county time is something you can be disciplined for. And if we're not willing to do that, we're abdicating our policy making responsibility.
That's all you understood, Paul.
Okay, let's keep the chatter to a minimum, folks. Let's go ahead and raise your hand if you have something to say. Otherwise, Mr. Grimm.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be quick. I really don't get this. We're asking that to be a written policy against political campaign work on county time. And everybody here seems to agree with that. So why don't we vote tonight for a written policy against campaign work on county time? That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Brewski.
Chairman, I'd like to move the previous question.
Okay, the question has been called. This will end debate, and we will have we'll go ahead and vote on 243. Is there a second? I'm gonna call the question.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham has her hand up.
Yeah, I've had my hand up for a few minutes, so if
Okay.
it'll take 1 minute.
Go ahead, Joanne.
Okay. I just want to make one thing abundantly clear for anybody who's watching this debate. If you are voting against resolution 243, as I will be doing, you are not, there should be no suggestion that by doing so, you don't believe that there should be a county policy that should be abundantly clear about the fact that none of those activities as listed in 243 are obviously violations and should be articulated in county policy that are just wrong. What we're talking about, and to suggest otherwise is just ridiculous. What we're differing on, and let's be clear about this, we are differing on an approach, and the subsequent resolution that we will vote on next, 276, merely, which I will be supporting, and lots of us will, merely articulates the appropriate process in place for this policy to be established. So I find it kind of disingenuous that folks on the other side are somehow, communicating that because we're voting on their, articulation that we're somehow, not opposed to people doing all those things on county time. That's ridiculous. We're talking about supporting an appropriate process, which is in the Department of Human Resources within the County of Albany, to create a policy that will make it abundantly clear, if it's not already otherwise articulated, that all those things are wrong, including As we all know, working a second job, whether it's a volunteer job or a paid job, is in violation of county policy. Thank you.
We're not going to show you in its entirety. Ms. McLean Lane?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I will keep it very, very quick. I will also be voting this down. I think people know the passion with what I feel about this issue of doing political work on county time. One of the things that is missing here is county employees should not have to give, and should be actually restricted from giving donations to countywide elected officials. And that is the piece that is absolutely missing and needs to be included. But I will be voting this down, and I thank you for allowing me to speak, sir.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. Try this again. Long roll call on 243.
Mr. Beston,
No, not in favor. No.
Brewski,
No.
Bergdorf,
Yes.
Chapman. Clay,
No.
Leary,
Mickey?
Leary,
Sorry, no, Mickey.
Camiso,
No.
Cunningham,
No.
Malowitz,
No.
Rigg,
Yes.
Epiforo,
No.
Ethier. Ethier,
No.
Haney,
No.
Fine,
No.
Grimm,
Absolutely, yes.
Joyce,
No.
Joyce, Rink,
No.
Hune,
No.
Langdon,
Yes.
Lakakis,
No.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Murillo,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
No.
McLean Lane,
No.
Miller,
No.
O'Brien,
No.
Hurley,
Yes.
Peter,
No.
Plotsky,
No.
Reedy,
No.
Reinhardt,
No.
Reichert,
Bill Rickard votes no.
Simpson,
No.
Smith,
Yes.
Honey,
Yes.
Ward,
No.
Whalen,
Yes.
Willingham,
No.
thank you.
Waiting on the deputy clerk.
28 affirmative. Excuse me. 8 positive, 8 yes, 1 excuse. Excuse me. 10, 28 to 10, it fails.
Right.
I thought he said affirmative.
Yeah,
I thought we had one for.
You're
resolution.
scaring me.
Right.
Mr. Clerk, please read Resolution 276, please.
Requesting the Albany County Controller and the Commissioner of Human Resources to review the Albany County rules and regulations for employees and provide recommendations concerning timekeeping practices.
Thank you. This item needs an amendment related to what was discussed in committee related to putting a time frame in place. The amendment adds a resolve clause after the first resolved, and the new clause reads as follows. Resolved that any recommended modifications related to the current timekeeping process shall be returned to the legislature within 45 days from the adoption of this resolution, and be it further. As this is my item, I'll make a motion to amend. Can I get a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded by Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and just to briefly, folks, before we go into a long roll call on 276, I just believe well, we do approve policy in the county legislature. I wanted to get our new comptroller and our director of HR, our commissioner of HR, to submit to us a new plan as it relates to some of the findings that were brought up in 2 of the audits that were made. And I wouldn't say I would anticipate, I would guarantee that this new policy that we get, or this draft that we get within 45 days will express all outside work in the county as it relates to your official duties in the county, including political. And I wanted to have the experts draft this new language and and put in this new input. It's dangerous for us to get into the process of drafting policy for different departments, in the county, which is why myself and the majority leader and many members, as well as I'm a minority leader and members of the minority caucus, decided to come on this. Is there any other input before we go into a long roll call?
Can you add me to this, please?
Okay, we're going to add Ms. Cunningham.
If I'm not on it, please add me as well, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Peter,
Larry too.
Me too.
Mr. Chairman,
Me too.
Mr. Bergdorf.
I had spoken to you earlier on and I was never added, but I appreciate your commitment that this will be dealt with in 45 days. And I didn't hear you say it specifically, but are you saying now that political activity on county time will be dealt with in your recommendations?
Absolutely. All outside work. It's as Mr. Peter.
It's not about work. It could be about going desk to desk. It could be circulating petitions. It's not like you have to be a paid political operative.
Okay.
It's a question of political activity on county time.
Thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. Mr. Coon.
I just
Stand
wanted.
by, folks. Mr. Coon has the floor. I believe I heard Ms. Willingham. She wants to be added to 276.
Would you hand them all with?
Ms. McLaughlin wants to be in it.
Let's stand by before we add co-sponsors. Let's give Mr. Coon the floor. He has his hand raised.
Yeah, I was just raising my hand to be added as a co-sponsor.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mr. Joyce.
Like to be added as a sponsor, please.
Okay. Who doesn't want to do a sponsor to 276?
Would you add them all with?
Gotcha, Gary. Is there anyone that does not want to be added?
I want to be added, Andrew.
Okay. As amended, all those in favor of resolution 276?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, resolution 276 passes unanimous.
I have a question on that. In terms of the sponsors, I had wanted to be a sponsor. I'm not sure I ever made it on.
You've got you, Mr. Reinhardt.
Okay.
In the version that goes out tomorrow, everyone will be on it that wanted to be on it.
So everyone is on it, right? My name is on it too, right?
Yeah, everyone's on. Everyone that's here, with the exception of Mr. Mayo, who has been excused. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Deputy Clerk, first item under current business, 278, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Ticketmaster regarding the computerized ticketing and distribution system for the Times Union Center.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? 278 passes unanimous. For 279, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement for the rental of corporate suite 20 at the Times Union Center.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 279 passes unanimous. For 280, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Community Maternity Services regarding maternity shelter and support services.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 280 passes, unanimous. For 281, please.
Authorizing agreements regarding moving and storage services for eligible temporary assistant recipients.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 281 passes, unanimous. For 282, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Albany Program, Inc. regarding employment services for temporary assistance for needy families and safety net recipients.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 282 passes, unanimous. 283, please.
Adopting proposed modifications to the Albany County Agricultural District 1, 2, and 3.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 283 passes, unanimous. 284, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Celtic Consulting LLC regarding minimum data set consulting services at Shaker Place Rehabilitation and Nursing Center.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 284 passes, unanimous. For 285, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Aging regarding the medication management program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 285 passes, unanimous. For 286, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Plaza Linden Service regarding residential laundry services at the Shaker Place Rehabilitation and Nursing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 286 passes, unanimous. 287, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office for the Aging regarding the supportive services program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 287 passes, unanimous. 288, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Aging regarding the congregate meals program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 288 passes, unanimous. For 289, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Aging regarding the home delivered meals program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 289 passes, unanimous. For 290, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office for the Aging regarding the health insurance information counseling and assistance program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 290 passes, unanimous. 291, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Aging regarding the elder caregiver support program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 291 passes, unanimous. For 292, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Aging regarding the community services for the elderly program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 292 passes, unanimous. 293, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Aging regarding the Congregate Services Initiative program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 293 passes, unanimous. 294, please.
Authorizing agreements to New York State Office of the Albany County Department of Social Services regarding the expanded in-home services for the elderly program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 294 passes, unanimous. 295, please.
Authorizing agreements to New York State Office of the Aging and the Albany County Department of Social Services regarding the wellness and nutrition program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 295 passes, unanimous. 296, please.
Authorizing an agreement, New York State Office of the Aging regarding the AAA Estate Transportation Program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 290 passes, unanimous. 297, please.
Authorizing an agreement, New York State Office of the Aging regarding unmet need.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 297 passes, unanimous. 298, please.
Authorizing agreements, New York State Office of the Aging and the Albany County Department of Social Services regarding New York Connect's Expansion and Enhancement Program.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 298 passes, unanimous. For 299, please.
Authorizing a submission of a grant application and agreement with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding the gun-involved violence elimination grant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 299 passes unanimous. For 300, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding the gun-involved violence elimination grant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 300 passes unanimous. 301, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Office of the Indigent Legal Services regarding a second regional immigration assistance center grant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 301 passes unanimous. 302, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extension to provide training courses for lead-based paint remediation.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 302 passes unanimous. 303, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Department of Health Research regarding the COVID-19 grant funding and amending the 2020 Department of Health budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? For 303 passes unanimous. For 304, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the AOW Associates, Inc. regarding general contractor services at the Clarksville Public Safety Building.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 304 passes unanimous. For 305, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Eckert Mechanical LLC regarding plumbing construction services at the Clarksville Public Safety Building.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 305 passes unanimous. 306, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Eckert Mechanical LLC regarding mechanical construction services at the Clarksville Public Safety Building.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 306 passes unanimous. 307, please.
Authorizing an agreement with CKM Electrical Services regarding electrical construction services at the Clarksville Public Safety Building.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 307 passes unanimous. For 308, please.
Authorizing an intermunicipal agreement regarding the Burn Justice Assistance Grant Program funding.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 308 passes unanimous. 309, please.
Authorizing an agreement with New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee regarding 2021 Police Traffic Services Grant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 309 passes unanimous. 310, please.
Amending Resolution 452 for 215 regarding the E911 records management.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 310 passes unanimous. For 311, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Central Square Technologies to upgrade the core 911 computer aid and dispatch, mobile data, field operations, and records management systems.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 311 passes unanimous. Number 312, please.
Amending Resolution 512 for 2017 regarding the project labor agreement for the Albany County Nursing Home Project.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 312 passes unanimous. 313, please.
Amending the 2020 District Attorney's budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 313 passes unanimous. 314, please.
Adopting an amendment to the Albany County Capital Program for 2024.
All those in favor? Opposed? 314 passes unanimous. 315, please.
Adopting the Albany County Capital Program for 2025.
All those in favor? Opposed? 315 passes unanimous. 316, please.
Amended and restated bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing the undertaking of a capital project for the Emergency 911 Communications Center, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof is $10 million. Appropriating said amount therefore and authorizing the issuance of $9 million of serial bonds in the said county to finance said appropriation.
This item needs to be referred back to audit and finance until the seeker is completed. So please send that back to Audit and Finance. For 317, please.
Amending 2020 Sheriff's Office budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 317 passes unanimous. For 318, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Braun Media regarding media and consulting services for the Shaker Place Rehab and Nursing Center.
Mr. Chairman?
All those in favor?
Mr. Chairman?
Stand by one moment. Who
Sorry,
wanted to speak?
I wanted to speak on this if I could, please, Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller, go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to be voting no on this, and I'm going to urge my colleagues to join me along with that vote. I'd like to explain the reasoning why. We're on the doorstep of a budget season that we know Albany County is facing tremendously large deficits. And we really need to start making, we're all going to have to make some very difficult decisions of necessity versus luxury. While this one program is not going to close that deficit, and it may have some value in good times, when we have to start talking about people and programs, we need to start finding some place to start chipping away at this. And I think this is the kind of program where we need to start doing that. So I thank you for your time. And again, I urge my colleagues to join me in voting no on this.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Reinhardt.
Yeah, is there any chance that we can just hold off on this vote until we are addressing some of those tough decisions that Matt just alluded to, so that we would vote on this at the same time that we're voting on some of these other issues that are going to be coming down the pike soon?
Mr. Chairman?
Stand by. We have Mr. Reinhardt had a question. It's unclear the urgency of this, in light of some of the comments Mr. Miller made. Mr. Cleary, I believe that you had a comment.
I would like to put it on hold also. I agree with Matt and Bill, and I think we should just put this on hold right now.
Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to send 318 back to Audit and Finance. At the next Audit and Finance meeting, I hope you'll be present to ask Mr. Slacky some of these questions that you have about the urgency and some of the rationale that went behind the agreement with Braun Media. Would that be amenable to everyone?
Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman Joyce, excuse me, Chairman
Yes.
Joyce. I sit on, it's Jennifer Whalen. I sit on the elder care committee. And we did address some of these issues with the Shaker Place Executive Director, Mr. Slatke. And because we had the same concerns, we're going to see big budget shortfalls and deficits. And this seemed like something that might be able to be cut. But I think he said, and Carolyn is the chairwoman of the committee, and she might even have a better memory, serving her than I do right now. But when we asked him about this issue, he said that there are quite a few beds empty and that they really did, think that this was justified because this Braun Media would be able to get the word out that there were beds that were available and that they might be able to be filled faster. That was my recollection. I mean, we can look at the record of the committee meeting, but we did address this in our, and Mr. Ricard is also on that committee, but I know we did address it with Mr. Slacky.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Ricard?
And I don't know if the chairwoman wants to speak on this too, Ms. McLaughlin, but my recollection, and is the same as Ms. Whalen's, that Mr. Slacky was asked these questions extensively by members of the committee, and we all, or at least I felt that the questions were answered, they were addressed, and it is imperative that we increase the amount of beds in there because, we do need to increase revenue streams to go into the point of my colleagues that, obviously we got to look for increases of revenue because items are going to have to be cut. But that's why we needed to bring in the experts. This firm is an expert in their field, and that's why they're charging what they're charging for their services. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Why were they not in before then?
They were there.
Okay, then.
Mr. Chair.
Stand by, folks. Let's keep the crosstalk to a minimum. If you have something to say, go ahead, raise your hand, and we'll call on you. I have Ms. Lakakis.
This is,
I don't know which committee it was that we were speaking of, probably Audit and Finance. Mr. Slacky inferred that this was a year-long contract negotiation. And so I would suggest if you want to put it off, maybe we could put off the length of time of the contract rather than put off voting on it right now. He also said it was for up to $100,000 and that they did not get to $100,000 the last time. I think that's what he said. And that it wasn't necessarily that they would have to get to that. But if you're talking about media purchases and stuff, $100,000, you know, they can stretch it as far as they can stretch it. But he seemed to think it was necessary to the success of the nursing home. And he sort of talked me into it, although I had the same concerns as everybody else.
Okay, Ms. Cunningham.
Yeah, I have raised questions about this also. And I'm glad that Matt raised some concerns about doing this right now. I mean, the contract starts in January, goes through the calendar year of 2021. If there are beds that are vacant in the nursing home, you know, I would like to know why that is. Perhaps it's because during the COVID-19 pandemic, you know, we certainly saw nursing homes that were, you know, under a lot of challenge and pressure. And, you know, perhaps it's because, you know, we saw a lot of people who were second guessing whether they wanted to send their family member to a nursing home and rather opted for home health care or other post-acute options. I also am comfortable with this. And I think if you want to fill your nursing home beds, the first thing you do is, you know, talk to discharge planners in hospitals and, you know, get the word out that way. I'm not sure about this, and I'm very glad to see it pulled back and give us a chance to ask some more questions. And going to Matt's original point, we're going to be looking at some tough budget cuts. We may be cutting staff. This could be 2 staff positions next year. And it just seems like maybe pulling back the reins is wise.
Okay, Ms. McLaughlin.
we had extensive conversation with Mr. Slatsky about this. I think it went on for about 20 minutes or more. And while we understand that the number of filled beds has decreased, that was one of the reasons he saw the need for this contract, but also just in terms of how people perceive the nursing facility at this point in time has been gotten a favorable review. The nursing facility has increased the favorability in the community because of the work that this organization has done with the facility. So I think we went back and forth with him and asked him some very tough questions, and they may be different than the ones that Audit and Finance asked. Which is the reason that the Elder Care Committee came out with recommendation to move this forward. I understand that others have additional questions at this point, but I do know that we were satisfied after our conversations with the responses that he gave. But we also know that times are going to get tough. But if this is one of those things, it's like training goes off the table when budget advertising is probably another one that goes off, gets looked at when budgets are tight. But the Elder Care Committee, I think we did our due diligence and came forward with a positive recommendation here after our conversation with him. I just wanted to emphasize that.
I agree, Carolyn. And, you know, sometimes we miss an item on an agenda on a committee that we're not on. Again, I'll remind everybody, you know, you are free to attend any committee meeting that you want as it relates to any of these items. But we do have some time on this. So given
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak on it.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Damala.
Thank you. This $100,000 is an investment into the nursing home. And Carolyn touched on it and Matt touched on it, but we have to create an image of the nursing home. It's a brand new facility with millions spent into it. And the only way to do that is to hire a media firm like this. We should spend some monies on it. I don't know if 100,000 is the right number, but we need to brand that nursing home for the rehab business so that we can get that, because that's where the money's going to be for us in the rehabilitation. And in order to get that out, we need to market that facility just like the Eddie does and the rest of our competitors out there. You know, we're in a competitive market now. We know, so as far as I'm concerned, we have to look at the amount and see how they're going to spend it. But we should spend something on branding the new nursing home. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Drake?
Yes, thank you. It's interesting because we renovated and rehabilitated this nursing home because of the needs of our residents. I agree with Legislator Cunningham in that the way to drive traffic to a nursing home is, of course, to network within the medical community and the outpatient services and or discharge services. And you know, as Mr. Devalo has correctly pointed out, there should be some marketing, but what you know, in austere times, or really in any times, it's the responsibility of government to make the most of their dollars. I should think that we could use a much smaller percentage of those funds for ad purchases, et cetera, and utilize our very capable county staff that already work with the nursing home, or perhaps other departments. And you know, if you're starting to hand out $100,000 contracts and committing to long-term entanglements, might not be the right move at this time. So I'd like to say that I think this is the kind of thing that we should be looking very closely at and not approving at this time, waiting to see how our budget's going to look. Thank you.
Before we get any further into discussion, I just wanted to know, I am sending this back to Audit and Finance. I'm going to send it to Elder Care as well. Okay, we have a month.
And
An issue. So any of the concerns that were raised on tonight's meeting, I hope you again present yourself at those meetings and ask Mr. Slacky yourself. But go ahead, Mr. Bergdorf.
I was going to commend you, Mr. Chairman, for sending it back. And I would ask Mr. Slatsky, I know that Mike McLaughlin sent some information around late last week about Braun. But given where we are financially as a county, I think it would be a great idea for Mr. Slatsky to come back to us in a month with a much more specific, tailored marketing program. He had indicated that the census at the nursing home was 168 at the day of the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. That's out of 250 beds. That is not a good situation. And I think that any money that we spend has to be focused specifically on increasing occupancy. And I don't think we've heard any of those specifics to date. So I would look forward, Mr. Chairman, to hearing that specific recommendation at next month's Audit and Finance Committee meeting.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Miller?
Yeah, I'll be real quick because I started. Hopefully I finish it for you too. I was at both Audit and Finance as well as Elder Care. I heard the full discussions. For me, the answers were not sufficient. I didn't think he did convince me at all. And I think I asked a question. Somebody asked a question. Braun Media had been there previously and didn't increase the beds. Didn't really see much of an return on that. So that's the short of it. So just so you know, I was at those. I did hear those. I just felt that his answers were not convincing. Thank you.
Okay. Please send 318 back to Audit and Finance and Elder Care. 319, please.
Amending 2020 Department of Human Resources budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 319 passes unanimous. For 320.
Amending the 2020 Department of Probation budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 320 passes unanimous. 321, please.
Authorizing a correction of the tax roll of the City of Albany.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 321 passes unanimous. 322, please.
Authorizing a refund of real property taxes to the town of Russellville.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 322 passes unanimous. 323, please.
Authorizing a refund of the real property taxes in the town of Bethlehem.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 323 passes unanimous. 324, please.
Authorizing conveyance of real property located at 4 Line Road, the town of Knox.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 24 passes unanimous. 325, please.
Authorizing conveyance of real property tax located at 2607 Second Avenue in the town of Colony.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 325 passes unanimous. 326, please.
Authorizing conveyance of real property located at 3068 New Scotland Road in the town of New Scotland.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 326 passes unanimous. 327, please.
Pending resolution 552 for 2019, authorizing conveyance of 95 Morris Road, the town of Colony.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 327 passes unanimous. For 328, please.
Authorizing the creation of an early separation payment program and the initial acceptance of application from the Albany County employees.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 328 passes unanimous. For 330, please.
Appointment of a member of the Albany County Ethics Commission.
All those in favor?
Chairman,
Aye.
Chairman,
Mr. Cleary?
I would like to be added to that, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Opposed?
What happened
None,
to 329?
We already did it.
Did
Earlier.
it? Okay.
Earlier.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yep.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, 330 passes unanimous. For 331, please.
Appointment of a member of the Albany County Planning Board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 331 passes unanimous. Number 332, please.
Appointment of members in Community Services Board and Subcommittees.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? For 332 passes unanimous. For 333, please.
Requesting the county exec and the county attorney to negotiate with short-term rental services and online remarketers for the purposes of collecting the hotel occupancy tax.
Please send that to Audit and Finance. Number 334, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law C for 2020.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 334 passes unanimous. Okay, we have 4 local laws and they're going to all be by long roll call. And we'll start with local law E.
Local law E for 2020, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, imposing an additional 1% rate of tax on sales and uses of tangible personal property and of certain services on occupancy of hotel rooms and amusement charges pursuant to Article 29 of the tax law of the state of New York.
Long roll call, please.
Heston,
Yes.
Brewski,
Yes.
Bergdorf,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Leary, Christo,
Yes.
Kamalowitz,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
he's here. Beatty,
Yes.
Fine,
Yes.
Grimm,
Yes.
Andrew Joyce,
Yes.
Raymond Joyce,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Lakakis,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Oriello,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Plain Lane, McLean Lane,
He's got himself muted.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Curley,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Lotsky,
Yes.
Reedy, Reinhardt,
Yes.
Yes.
Rickard,
Yes.
Sampson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Honey,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Willingham,
Yes.
38.
Mr. Clerk, I don't know if you got me, but I'm a yes. This is.
Yeah, I didn't get my name
Stand
either.
by, folks. We're gonna get a list of everyone that was on mute, and we'll make sure that we get their vote. So we're gonna give the deputy clerk another opportunity to get who we missed.
Yeah, I didn't get my name either.
Okay, we'll go through the list.
I heard. Afakaro.
Yes.
Anyone else think that they weren't heard?
Allison
Lane, sir.
Miss McLean Lane?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Local law E passes unanimous. Local law F.
Local law F for 2020, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, imposing a tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms in Albany County.
Long roll call, please.
Peston,
Yes.
Rushki,
Yes.
Rutdorf, Bergdorf,
Yes.
Chapman. Chapman. Thank you. Clay,
Yes.
Cleary,
Yes.
Misso,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Malowitz,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Avacoro,
Yes.
he's here. Hill. Feeney,
Yes.
Fine,
Yes.
Grimm,
Yes.
Joyce, Andrew,
Yes.
Vice Raymond,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Lekakis,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Moriello,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Plain Lane,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Hurley,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Lotsky,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Rickard,
Rickard versus votes yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Honey,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen,
Oh my God. Hello?
Willingham,
Wait, John.
Hello?
Miss Whalen.
Yes.
Yes.
For Willingham.
Thank you. Gil, eighth here. Gil. Unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Local law G.
Local law G, local law of the County of Albany, New York, enacting a mortgage recording tax pursuant to section 253P of the tax law of the state of New York.
Long roll call, please.
Destin,
Yes.
Rushki,
Yes.
Bergdorf,
Yes.
Chapman, Norma,
Yes.
Clay. Thank you. Clay,
Yes.
Cleary,
Yes.
Misso,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Malowitz,
Yes.
Drake, Epicoro,
Yes.
eighth here. Thank you. Feeney,
Yes.
Fine,
Yes.
Grimm,
No.
and, excuse me,
No.
thank you. Andrew Joyce,
Yes.
Raymond Joyce,
Yes.
Hune,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Lekakis,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Morello,
No.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
McLean Lane,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Hurley,
No.
Peter,
Yes.
Lotsky,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Ruckert,
Bill Rickard votes yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Honey,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Willingham.
Yes.
35-3.
Thank you. Local law G passes 35-3. Local law H.
Local law H. A local law of the County of Albany, New York, repealing local law 1 for 2016 and prohibiting the use and sale of sparkling devices.
Mr. Bursky.
Mr. Chairman, I rise in reluctant support of local law H, and I was to speak about why. Many members of our local community are certainly hurting right now due to COVID-19 and the frankly criminal response of the federal government in Washington. The stress of at-home childcare, uncertainty about their future, fear of catching COVID itself have created a pressure cooker, and the necessary public health restrictions on social interactions are the lid. I believe that fireworks can be sold and used responsibly. The current law already limits the time of year in which the fireworks may be sold to just the periods leading up to the two major holidays, the 4th of July and New Year's Day. And I believe that the heightened sensitivity to fireworks will subside after COVID, when once again children can play together and we're all not cooped up inside at home. Lastly, I just want to say that I'm naturally skeptical of most blanket bans because I fear that they tax resources of the law enforcement that we will send out to enforce them, and all too often are not equally applied on our low-income communities and our communities of color. Such skepticism would normally lead me to vote against this resolution. However, I also believe in humility enough to know that I do not have all of the possible answers. And my community has really spoken on this issue and spoken with one voice. At a time when so many can't sleep at night because they worry about their jobs, their retirement, their children, and again, the criminally inept response of our federal government, the last thing we need is to deny them the quiet of a sleep at home free of explosions in their own backyard. And if I, as a member of the county legislature, have the ability to provide that peace of mind to my community, I have the obligation to do so, which is why I will be voting yes on local law H.
Mr. Bergdorf. Paul, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was undecided in committee, and I think I voted against sending it out to the floor until I did some further due diligence with folks. I, in my own experience, have had fireworks going off in our neighborhood that literally sounded like major gunfire. And I know it's not the sparkling devices. And I think we had a very good discussion in the law committee about the definition of sparkling devices. I reached out both to the sheriff and to the chief of police in Colony, John Teal. And John told me that around the 4th of July and the surrounding days, they had dispatched over 150 calls for excessive fireworks. There were 2 houses that were caught on fire, and that there were a group of young children who were hurt. So he was emphatically for the repeal. My concern has always been that by repealing this law, it does not stop the real big stuff, the big bang stuff, the aerial bombs, the big rockets, the things that really distress our communities. And the chief explained to me that many of the big box stores and the tents actually sell products. And Matt Peter, you were right, at least according to my chief of police, that were not consistent with not going above 6 feet above ground or having an explosive report. So based on my due diligence and what my neighbors are telling me and my own experiences, I am going to support the repeal of the fireworks law. But I only hope that this gives law enforcement the opportunity now to go after anything that is fireworks related. And I realize in these days of no bail and
Raise the age.
Raise the age and the draw on the police department. I know it's going to be tough, but I hope in some way that we are contributing to the peace and tranquility of our neighborhoods. So I'm going to support this.
Okay, Mr. Efficuero?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As you may have known, recently there was a gunshot, multiple gunshots next to my house. And at first, the gunshots sounded like fireworks, but it was my curiosity that led me to actually go outside to see if it was actually fireworks or gunshots. And when I went outside, I saw the young man lying down. I had to call 911. But it was very, very difficult at first to differentiate between whether it is a firework or gunshot. And so I will be supporting this resolution because I live in the Pine Hills neighborhood. And you've heard the president of the Pine Hills Association came in tonight, John, to support of this legislation. And this is something that has troubled my neighborhood for a long time during this pandemic, and that people have to go through and people cannot sleep at night and stuff like that. So I will be supporting this legislation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Peter?
Thank you. And I want to start off by thanking my colleague, Mr. Bergdorf. He did his due diligence as he promised to do in the committee. He asked very good questions and had me do a little more research too. And I want to thank him for his support on this. As one of the main sponsors of this, I want to really put things into perspective. The City of Albany Police Department received 895 calls this year for fireworks. That's on top of the epidemic of gun violence we've seen across our community. To my colleague Bararo's point, it's impossible for people on the ground to know the difference sometimes between gunshots and these legal sparkling devices, which make similar sounds. They're not the big rocket booms, but they do and can sound like bangs on the ground. It's been a 300% increase in police calls from year to year. The expense of any of these calls compared to whatever sales tax revenue we get from it, let alone the peace and quiet that our neighbors deserve, is much more important than that small amount of revenue. In addition, this is happening between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. a lot of the cases. It's happening late at night. This is not us shutting down a family barbecue. And for us, we can only opt in or opt out. Even the lobbyists who spoke, their own survey said there would be a sharp decrease in those who would go to other counties to purchase them. And for us, we want that decrease. Even if we get 30 or 40% less calls, if we get 30 or 40% less individuals who are frightened to live in their own homes, if 30 or 40% less veterans are suffering from PTSD for it, then this is certainly something that we must do. And I'm going to follow the advice of law enforcement that says it's almost impossible for them to enforce the illegal fireworks and the currently legal ones because they're very similar. The city of Albany sent along pictures where right next to the illegal fireworks, there were boxes of the so-called legal ones. And from an untrained eye or at night, you cannot tell the difference. So I'd like to thank my neighbors who came out very strongly for this, the neighborhood associations and the activists who came and informed me on this. And I urge my colleagues, and I hope I can count on your support to vote yes on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, folks, I would remind everyone on the phone, if you are on mute, unmute yourself, *6, or any other way your device allows you to do it. And we'll have a long roll call on local
There's
law.
a couple more people.
Oh,
Drake.
stand by.
Drake, and they're physically holding their hands.
Okay, Mr. Drake.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear?
Yeah, we got you.
Are you here? Can you hear me or no? Okay, thanks.
We can hear you.
Yes.
I just think this is, this seems to be an example of legislation that often conflates two different problems. I empathize with people, the firecracker or, fireworks, I guess what I'll call real fireworks, and those issues. It's certainly disturbing and can be traumatic for people. The things that we legalize in the county are really not the culprit here. So I think this conflates two issues. These other things are generally already illegal. Also, it seems to be a regional question, and this may be more appropriate in a different setting as a local law, where it seems like the city of Albany in particular is having a difficult time with fireworks in general. And some of the other areas may not be, particularly rural or some of the suburban areas. I can tell you that in my district, the only calls I've gotten were that people kind of felt incredulous that standard sparklers would be deemed illegal. And, it seems innocuous to them. So, it may be a question of perspective, but I'd like to, quote Legislator Cunningham, her earlier sentiment as applies to this particular legislation, which is that, hey, everybody knows that you're not supposed to use illegal fireworks. So I don't see why we should pass another law about something that everybody knows. So I'll be voting against.
Okay, Ms. McLean Lane.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I highly appreciate your recognition of me. I was the co-sponsor of this original legislation that allowed this. Ever since that happened, there has been an unbelievable increase in the use of fireworks in the village of Manans, in Latham, and in Cohoes, North Albany, etc. I greatly appreciate this being brought forward. I feel an unbelievable responsibility for this, truthfully, because we thought it was a good idea at its inception, but what it led to was a real problem. Many people in this body have young children or grandchildren. I have 2 9-year-olds. And to have these things going off at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning on Tuesdays is very problematic. So I will be voting in the affirmative, and I deeply regret my support of this in its inception. And I thank you for recognizing me.
Mr. Clay.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. I'm a little concerned about the, I'm going to be voting against the resolution. I live in the Pine Bush. I represent people out here in the Pine Bush area. We're surrounded by trees. I'm concerned that in the dry seasons, that I stopped a couple of young folks from using sparkling devices out in the woods because, they say, well, they go out. No, yeah, well, they get hot, and they get hot enough that they can start a fire. We don't want to see happen here what's happening out in West, or having it happening in California and et cetera. We don't want to see that happen here because, I mean, the people that I represent essentially in this district or essentially in the woods. Got trees all around us. So I would appreciate, I understand those that, that are opposed to this, but sir, I am voting, of course, to ban it. And if I'm, and thank you for the time. I don't want to hold any.
Thank you, Mr. Clay. Just a point of clarification for everyone as the evening draws on. A vote in the affirmative is a vote to rescind what we did in 2016, and is to end the sale of fireworks and sparkling devices in Albany County. If you vote in the affirmative, just to make that clear for everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt?
Me?
Mr. Reinhardt?
Yeah, just add me as a sponsor.
We got you. Mr. Ethier? Mr. Ethier, are you on?
He's doing something.
Gil? Okay. Anyone else?
Right.
Mr. Joyce?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I was going to speak, but Matt stole my thunder. The big point here is this will not stop illegal fireworks, but it will help police agencies identify what's legal and what's not legal. That's what we heard from the City of Albany Police Department. They can't differentiate the two. But to Mr. Drake's point about local municipalities adopting these laws and not banning it countywide, I believe when New York State allowed sparkler devices in 2014, they left it to the counties to pass the laws, not the local munis. I could be wrong, but that was a county law passed only because the county was allowed to either allow them or disallow them. So that's why the county took action, and that's why we need to take action tonight to ban them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce. Anyone else?
Yes, I would like, Wanda Willingham.
Yes, Ms. Deputy Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Although I'm definitely voting in the affirmative for this legislation, there was one thing I would like the county to take responsibility for, and that is to go on a campaign that informs our communities that fireworks are illegal. And to the extent that it is, whether it's sparklers, firecrackers, or so forth. I do know that the pandemic, caused people to, as someone said earlier, to do things that, they thought that they were enjoying themselves, and blowing off steam, pardon the pun. However, I just want to ensure, and talking to law enforcement this summer during this, they said that they could not handle all of the calls. And it just would not be pretty. So the one thing I think we will be responsible for is ensuring that the public knows that fireworks are now illegal. And if it's all fireworks, including sparklers and firecrackers, that needs to be very specific, and we need to go on a campaign, not waiting until July, not waiting until then, but letting people know that this is something that they cannot hide. That's all that's the main thing that I ask for. I was campaigning, and I was out, and I was going by a house, and I said, what happened to Mrs. So-and-so's house? And what had happened, her grandkids had been using fireworks and thought they had put the fireworks out. They put it in the trash, and the cinders from it burned the woman's house down to the ground. And this was right in the city. And so it's dangerous, and we know that it is. But let's make sure our public knows, that now we have taken responsibility again to make this illegal. Thank you.
Ms. McLaughlin.
You know, I hate to always follow my sister, but we do share some same opinions. I just spoken to young woman down here in the South End who gave me an experience where she saw someone throw fireworks out the car window and then shoot off a gun at the same time. And just hearing about an experience like that, and then just myself sitting sometimes wondering, what am I hearing? Is it fireworks or is it something more sinister? And then during the whole fireworks season, it's unbearable sometimes in the neighborhood where I live. And I sympathize with some of the comments that were made tonight about people's livelihood and that kind of thing. But the safety in the community, for me, is priceless. And I'm going to have to support this legislation because of just my own experience of hearing fireworks go off at all times, 24 hours a day during the season. And it's not just to celebrate a holiday. It goes on for a week or two, if not longer. And as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, I heard fireworks going off, and it wasn't for Labor Day. So, I find it very difficult to not listen to what my neighbors are saying and other constituents throughout the first district. And so I'm going to be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman? Hello?
You're muted, Andrew.
Go ahead, Ms. Whalen. Thank you.
Oh. Hi, I respect everyone's opinion on this, but this is my first term, and I just don't think banning everything that disturbs people is something that we should be doing. Matches start forest fires, but we're not banning matches, right? Thunder disturbs dogs and children, but we're not banning thunder. It just seems like this pivot to banning everything is just something that I don't believe in as a policy. And I will be voting against this. I think that, this type of ban is just banning everything, including fireworks and sparklers, is something that we should not be doing. We should be banning gunfire. We should be asking the police to enforce the noise ordinances at nighttime. There are noise ordinances on almost every record in every town and every city. So the police can go and they can actually enforce those ordinances, not just start banning other things left and right. So I will not be supporting this. And I also feel like we need the sales tax revenue. I asked for the numbers in the committee meeting as to what we would be losing in sales tax revenues, and no one got that number back to me. But, in a time where we're worried about depriving the nursing home of $100,000 in advertising, but yet, we're not worried about depriving the county of sales tax revenues that we desperately need, is just the timing of all of this to me is really just, the timing of this to me is just incredulous, really. But anyway, I have enjoyed this debate, but I will be voting against this for that reason, for those reasons.
Okay, anyone else?
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on, Jeff. All right, hold on. I hear Mr. Purley. Jeff, you're muted.
Mr. Chairman?
Jeff, you're muted.
He's working on it.
He's still talking. Mr. Purley, you're muted.
Move on.
Mr. Purley, if you could unmute yourself.
It looks like he's searching.
You're working at it.
He's trying his hardest.
Lower left.
Give it a
Lower
tap
left.
on the side of the monitor, Mr. Purley. That might work. I don't know what you're doing there. We'll come back to you, Mr. Purley, okay? Somebody else?
Yes. I don't know.
Was there anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to go on as a sponsor.
Okay, we have you, Mr. Ficoro.
The Clary's waiting.
Chairman, I think I figured it out.
Oh, can I go on as a sponsor, Mr. Chairman? This is Ms. McLaughlin. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Purley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your patience. I somehow hit the wrong button, but
Okay.
I think Legislator McLaughlin's standard is the correct one. We have to listen to our neighbors. I represent probably one of the most rural parts of the county where sparkling devices, which are the subject of the ordinance, can be and are enjoyed safely. And for those reasons, and listening to my neighbors, I will be voting no on this ordinance. Thank you.
Chairman, please add my name to, as a sponsor too. Thank you. Juan
We've got you.
I'd like to speak.
Mr. Demolitis, go ahead.
Thank you. I actually didn't get any phone calls from anybody on this. I got an email from the mayor today, which was very, very informative and very convincing. And I will be supporting the local law. But just with my own experience, because I was one of those guys that bought the fireworks from the Upton Colony Center. And after we blew them up, one of them just was all done. And 5 minutes later, it started burning again. So if we had taken that and thrown it in the garbage pan, it would have started a fire. So I just don't think the products that they're selling are of good quality and are very dangerous to everyone who's using them. So for that reason, I'll be supporting the local law. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's Norma.
Ms. Norma?
This, make it clear.
Go ahead, Ms. Chapman.
I just want to be a sponsor.
We got you. Mr. Cleary?
Yes, just one thing, that we can't control thunder and all that stuff. And I am in favor of this bill.
You can control thunder if you are Thor, Mr. Cleary. It's not
No, maybe if you're Mr. Trump, we can, but we can't control thunder.
Let's have some respect for Thor here. Okay.
Yeah, and for Trump.
A little levity, folks.
You'll try, though.
I was just trying to be funny.
Next month.
Jennifer, I'm sorry, I was just kidding you.
Next month, we'll try thunder. How about that?
All good, all good.
Okay, anybody else on local law H?
And I can't wait to be back in the room with everybody.
Thank you, Mickey. Okay, long roll call on local law H, please.
Heston,
In favor.
Grushky,
Yes.
Bergdorf,
Mr. Bergdorf? You're muted.
Aye.
Chapman, Blake,
Yes.
Cleary,
In favor.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Tomolowitz,
Yes.
Green,
No.
Epicoro,
Yes.
Eastia,
Yes.
Feeny,
Yes.
Ein,
Yes.
Grimm,
Yes.
Joyce, Andrew,
Yes.
Joyce Raymond,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes, Kuhn.
Langen,
Yes.
the Cactus,
Second time's a charm, yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Moriello,
Yes.
Blackman,
Divided by 50.
Yes.
I know.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Hurley,
No.
So are you telling people that?
Peter,
Yes.
Plasky,
Yes.
Greedy,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
What, from Friday to Saturday it goes up?
Hold on, Mr. Deputy Clerk. Carolyn, could you please mute?
Good.
Thank you. Okay.
Reichert,
Bill Rickard votes yes.
Sampson,
Yes.
Smith,
No.
Cunning,
No.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen,
No.
Willingham.
Yes.
Looks like 33-5, Mr. Chairman.
Local law H passes 33-5. Now, we would normally adjourn at this point, but as my understanding, there is a Rule 11 motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would like to invoke Rule 11 to make a motion to introduce a resolution which was recently passed with a favorable recommendation from the pre-public forum meeting of the Public Works Committee, which was held just a few minutes ago. This is a request for legislative action by the Albany County Airport Authority to grant a utility easement to the town of Colony for relocation of existing water main. This is time sensitive, hence the need for this Rule 11 due to its relation to ongoing construction plans. This was also only received by my committee this past week. I would move that it be added to our agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brusky. The Rule 11 was sent to all of your tablet devices if you're following our agenda on your tablet. On the invocation of Rule 11, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, clerk, please read resolution number 335.
Are we ready, Mr. Chairman?
I'm ready.
Thank you. Authorizing a utility easement with the town of Colony regarding water main relocation at the Albany International Airport.
On resolution 335, all those in favor?
Hold on, Mr. Chairman. Chairman?
I'm holding.
Sorry, Joyce.
Mr. Ray, are you going to abstain?
So the easement, is it a water easement or is National Grid named in it? I don't have a copy of the Rule 11.
The water easement.
All right, thank you.
Stand by one moment, folks. Okay, folks, let me backtrack one moment. I'm getting scolded here. We did invoke Rule 11, and who seconded that?
Andrew, you were mute for a second there. Did you?
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Mr. Ward, you seconded on the invocation Rule 11? Okay, thank you. Anything else?
And Rule 11 was correctly invoked.
Okay.
And now we're on the vote.
Okay, we'll do it one more time. On resolution 335, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, resolution 335 passes unanimous. That is it for tonight's agenda, everyone. Before I accept a motion to adjourn, I want to thank everyone for participating and for your patience tonight. Please heed the advice of medical professionals and keep yourselves and your families safe. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Peter, seconded by Mr. Brusky. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Good
Thank you.
night. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.